Hello, my name is Manju Malhi and welcome to the Heston West cookery session on Zoom. So it's remotely done, it's our first session. So I hope you'll join me soon to make a delicious dish. And I'm going to make pasta ratatouille bake. So first off, I've got my pan here. And I'm going to heat some oil in my pan. The pan has been heated up. I'm going to add some olive oil. Now, pasta ratatouille bake is a mixture of Italian and French cuisines, but it's very cheap, very economical, budget friendly, and easy to make. And you feel like you've done a bit of cooking. So I've heated my oil up, and to that, just some onion. And you let that sizzle and fry. Any questions, anyone? If you want olive oil, you can use olive oil or even sunflower oil if you can't get hold of olive oil. Try not to use vegetable oil because you don't know what vegetables are used to make the oil. So it's best to really use sunflower, rapeseed or olive. So I'm just going to soften these onions, and to that mixture of oil and onions, I'm going to add lots of garlic. Garlic's very good for you. You can get fresh garlic in the shops or just use something out of a jar. It's second best, but I would use fresh if you can get hold of it. And again, garlic is a cheap ingredient and it's good for the immune system as well. So it's well worth getting a few garlic cloves if you can. So let that soften. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some pasta. Now you can use any kind of pasta for this dish. Whatever you can get really, and pasta is very cheap. I'm using macaroni or penne pasta. It's up to you. You can use tortellini if you want, fusilli pasta. I think these are pasta penne shells. So what I've done is I've boiled the pasta according to the instructions on the packet, and then put them under a cold tap. And the reason I did that is you don't want the pasta to be sticky. You want it to be separate, like it is here. So the pasta is now cold, but it's cooked. So continue frying this mixture over here. I could do it here as well. Can everyone see? Yeah? To that, you can add some herbs. You can use dried herbs, which are cheap and available in all the supermarkets. I'm using oregano. That sort of gives it that lovely Italian flavor. So a little bit of that in there. They don't last very long, herbs, because once you've opened the jar or the packet, they start to lose their flavor and aroma. A bit like spices, really. So don't buy like 200 grams of dried herbs. It's best to buy them in small packets. So I'm giving that a good mix, and I can smell the aromas now. It's lovely. It's smelling very Italian. I'll add some more mixed herbs to give it that French flavor. And I'm going to add some black pepper as well. Now the ratatouille element of this dish is the courgettes. And here are the courgettes. Okay, so I'm just going to add the courgettes. And now, again, whatever leftover vegetables you have in your fridge, you can use those. So you can use carrots, bits of squash, even a few parsnips. It's up to you. Use your favorite veg. So I like mushrooms. I'm going to add some mushrooms to my pasta bake, my ratatouille pasta bake. And I've just chopped up some ordinary mushrooms, and they're very economical. And just continue sauteing the whole mixture. It's best to use a non-stick pan if you want, if you have one. And then add a little bit of salt, but bear in mind that I'm using stock made out of a stock cube. So try to cut back on the salt, because salt causes high blood pressure. But what you can do is you can get hold of low sodium stock cubes, and it's worth investing in those. Everyone happy? So you continue frying and sauteing the mixture. To that, another favorite vegetable of mine is green beans. Now, if you can't get hold of fresh, frozen will do as well. I've thawed these, and I'm just going to add my green beans to the mixture of vegetables. Now, whenever you cook any dish, any cuisine, to make it a much more pleasurable experience, it's worth having all your ingredients laid out in front of you. And 80% of the hard work is through prepping the vegetables or the ingredients. So the chopping, the slicing, the peeling, the crushing, that's all the prep work, the preparation work. And the rest is easy peasy. Now I'm going to preheat my oven to 180 degrees, gas mark 4, or 350 degrees Fahrenheit, because it's going to be a baked dish. So I'll do that. And then I'm going to make my stock. So have all your ingredients in front of you when you're cooking any dish. It's much easier. So here's the stock. And you can freeze this dish overnight and cook it the next morning once you've thawed it. Or just store it in the fridge and eat it for up to 2 to 3 days, I would say. And cover it with cling film. So I'm just blending the stock cube in the hot water. That's lovely, maybe a bit more. Okay, I'll just leave that side. So I want to sort of saute the vegetables in all the spices and soften them. So I've put mushrooms in this, courgettes, green beans. Those are my veg. And to start off, I heated some oil in a pan, added my onions, bit of garlic, and let that mixture soften. Then I've added some herbs. I've used oregano or mixed dried herbs, a bit of black pepper, and a pinch of salt. So that's looking lovely. I'll just show you it. It's nice and green. It's like a Verdi ratatouille bake. And then I'm going to add some crushed chili. Again, this is optional. You don't need to add chili to this, but it sort of gives it a nice zingy flavor. Now you can use chopped tomatoes to your ratatouille, or just get a can of tomatoes and put those in. And now it's gone lovely and red. So you want to saute the vegetables to soften them. Right, I'll just grease my dish. So use an oven-proof dish for this. I'm using this. And once they've softened and cooked, almost 3/4 cooked, I'm going to add my stock. Now I might line the dish, you don't have to do this, with a tiny bit of olive oil, just a teeny bit. And if you're not vegan, you can grease it with butter. So I'm just swirling the dish around, like so. So it's looking like this. You can add more tomatoes if you want, but I'm doing it like this. And now the stock. It's over here. And just let that cook for 2 to 3 minutes. Do a bit of tidying up as you go along. So that's looking lovely. So it's easy so far. It's just frying vegetables or sauteing them in some oil, adding your stock, and then you're going to mix it with your pasta. And this is the pasta which I've boiled in advance. Run the pasta under a cold tap so they become separate, or else it would just stick into one big lump. So make sure you run your pasta under a cold tap. So you just mix that all up. Cook it for about a minute. Now you can have this dish with a crispy green salad with a little dressing on top. Or you can have it with mashed potatoes. Some people like the pasta baked with mashed potato, but make sure you don't eat too many potatoes. So that's sort of mixing really well and heating up nicely. So I'm combining the pasta with all the flavors of the sauce we've made. It's looking lovely. Looks about done. So here's my dish. Make sure it's oven proof. And just put all of the ingredients from the pan into the dish, like so. You can do a bit of fancy decorating while you're at it. I'll just move this pan out of the way. Let me just going to move the camera so you can see. And then sprinkle with cheese. You can use cheddar cheese. Some people use Parmesan, but bear in mind, Parmesan isn't vegetarian. So try and get a vegetarian cheese or vegan cheese and just sprinkle the grated cheese over the top. This is optional, you don't have to do this. A little bit more black pepper on top. Like so. And then pop it in the oven. Okay, right. For about half an hour, I'd say, roughly. And then take it out 5 minutes towards the end of cooking to just garnish with any fresh herbs you have. And then these are basil leaves. Everyone can see those. They're really nice. And what you can do is wash them, and you can get a plant and you can grow your basil leaves outside in the garden or in a windowsill if you don't have a garden, or on the porch. And then you can just pick them and pluck them when you need to cook a dish, which is what I've done here. And that's it. I was going to say, hang on a minute, I'll say that again. And that's it, pasta ratatouille bake. Is that all right?